Yeah. So I just want to start with a question like, have you guys ever felt like othered in your own home? Like people know you in the form, but not the multitudes of stories that you carry in your soul, you know? So that's what it was like for me growing up as a Sindhi in Karachi. I was very disconnected from my own roots, very disconnected from my heritage as well. So um, just to give you guys an idea about, uh, just a minute, sorry. Okay. My practice, Areeb already introduced you to it a bit. Okay. Yeah. So when you don't really speak your own language and you're not really connected to your own heritage, you know it through pop culture, you know it through, other representations that people create for you, right? So this is the representation of, Sindhis we see in the media, in pop culture. And what happens is that when these kind of representations are repeated, you start to believe that this is the truth, and eventually, sometimes it becomes the truth as well. So, uh, so for many of us, design is a career path, a way to make a living. But for me, it's become a bridge between cultures, between tradition and modernity, and most importantly, a bridge between myself and my heritage. Yeah. So even as a little girl growing up in Karachi, I wasn't content with simple store-bought certificates. Sorry. I'll just talk about how it was for me growing up. So I remember like I would create these certificates and draw each swirl and each motif with my own hand because giving out certificates in my community, it wasn't just about, giving out a piece of paper. It was about celebrating an achievement, right? So my sister recognized this thing in me, and she's like, you're really good at this. So this is something that you can do. And yeah, eventually, this is how my journey started as a child. So when I recall back then, our city was a symphony of colors and patterns. Okay, yeah, yeah. So there I am as a kid, uh, working on cultures of Pakistan. I think I'm still doing the same thing. Yeah. Okay, so back then our city was a symphony of colors and pattern and intricately carved doorways, vibrant textiles. And these weren't just decorations, these were stories etched in stone and thread, rooted in our collective identities. But as I grew up, a change swept through our world, and the vibrant hues gave way to a minimalistic aesthetic, clean lines replaced elaborate carvings, and it was like we are losing, not just our colors, but a part of ourselves too, because everything was so minimalistic. So this shift sparked a deep curiosity in me, and I started to think, where did these colors and patterns come from? What stories did they hold? And this is what led me down the path of design. And I realized that design wasn't just about aesthetics or problem solving. It's a powerful language that can bridge cultures and stories that connect us to our heritage. Okay, so for the last 4 years, I've been studying in Malaysia and living there, and I came across the concept of dream weaving over there. So dream weaving is a Southeast Asian tradition, where women receive designs and patterns from spirits in their dreams, and I was captivated by that. It's a powerful reminder of the deep connection between folklore and creativity. Um, while seemingly distinct, folklore and dream weaving share a profound connection. Both draw inspiration from unseen realms, whether it's collective wisdom of our ancestors or the whispers from the spirit world. These whispers and these stories become the seeds of our creativity, waiting to be nurtured and brought to life. So let's get a little bit deeper into the powerful language of folklore. Can we have sound? Oh, okay, sure. So folklore, it's the tapestry woven from the threads of our soil, our stories, jokes, sayings, reet or rivaj, sangeet. It's all a part of folklore. Yeah. All right. So, thank you. Uh, so this was singing Sidhu. I was speaking about folklores before. That was cut off a bit. So this is this project singing Sindhu was an example of how I used augmented reality and kind of traced the oral traditions of Sindh, and it connected us to many different cultures. Even South Indian traditions as well. So it's being a Sindhi. It's all about how you feel about the river. So it's not really an identity on its own. It's just a lot of cultures coming together and a lot of people who have this reverence for the river. So this project Singing Sindhu was about that, about tracing those oral traditions and trying to visualize them. So yeah, just a little bit about folklore again. So it's the tapestry woven from the threads of our soil, our stories, sayings, jokes, reet or rivaj. And it's the lullaby that soothes a child's sleep, the proverb that guides a life's path, and the legend that sparks our imagination. From Sasui Punu's love story to sightings of Jalparis, folklore isn't just a collection of dusty tales. It's a living wellspring of wisdom passed down through generations, shaping our identities and connecting us to our communities. So this is what this project was meant to say. So let's have a little bit deeper look into Sindh, and you'll understand what this illustration really means to me and where I draw my inspiration. These were also from my project Singing Sindhu. You can maybe come to me later and scan them and watch them animate and see. You can also hear what both of these illustrations were inspired by, what kind of oral tradition they were inspired by. Yeah. So this was a playful take on Mohenjo-daro's seals that we found, and I just wanted to create my own, representations of those characters. We don't really know, what they were, but I was just trying to use illustration to imagine maybe, them as quirky characters, and then this expanded into sculpture for me. So. Similar characters, but I just wanted to explore them in 3D and see what kind of new life I can give to them. This was inspired by Sambara, the dancing girl of Mohenjo-daro. This was inspired by just a minute, yeah. This is inspired by a fertility goddess that was there in Mohenjo-daro, and the last one, it's just, I don't know, it's just something that I would like to add to the collection. I'm just inspired by the aesthetic, the Mohenjo-daro, on the Mohenjo-daro seals in this, yeah. So yeah, There's a beautiful quote by this designer, Ruben Pater, where he says that designers are the messengers between senders and receivers. And I like to think that just like dream weavers that we spoke about before, as designers, we also translate ideas and messages into visuals. And with this power comes responsibility as well. So you have to think when you're creating these kind of representations, what your responsibilities are and how you respond to them. So when I was approached by this organization called Hindus for Human Rights, they asked me to create an interpretation of Sindh's patron saint, Jhulelal. And I considered it my responsibility to show how this deity serves as a bridge between Hindus and Muslims. So what are his Hindu avatars and how Muslims see him. So, it was an interesting take, and, I really value my creative freedom when I'm working as an illustrator. So, that again, with that kind of freedom, your own responsibility also, matters a lot. So yeah. So my timeline is all over the place. I'm just giving you guys a glimpse into, my work and the work that I consider important. So later, by exploring illustration and design both, design just became a way for me to connect with my community. And I work at Lahuti. It's a grassroots cultural organization. It's based in Jamshoro, and over there we create platforms where contemporary artists and indigenous communities can come together. And these kind of spaces are, very rare to see, because a lot of these communities don't really get to integrate with each other. But at Lahuti, we're able to, share. A Sindhi folk poet can share the spotlight with a policymaker, and both can learn from each other's stories. Both can create solutions that can benefit each other, right? So this is some of my work at Lahuti, and yeah, just some of it. So yeah, I only felt accomplished when the communities that I designed for, they actually, considered it as something of their own. So this is an example of the logos that I designed, very much inspired by our folk art. And they are very detailed. A lot of people ask me that, why don't I go for something more minimal? But I think we can use design to express our Eastern aesthetic and Eastern school of thought. We can, totally do that, and this is an example of how it can be done. So, yeah, I was talking about the communities who I tried to, represent. When they like this, when they understand this, I'm like, okay, my work is done, Yeah. So it extends into all sorts of communication design, from stage design to, tickets to signage, everything. So I often wonder if we as designers truly are aware of our impact, of our individual voice. And I've seen that often art schools champion this minimalist and modernist aesthetic too. And anything rooted in tradition is, too ethnic, and it gets dismissed as kitsch or inferior. And there are very few people who understand what you're trying to do as a designer when your focus is not on the money-making side of things. So I think this bias has a history. And it's a legacy of colonialism where Western aesthetics were imposed as superior. And we graduate from these art schools, enter the industry, and sometimes carry this God complex, believing that we know better than the communities that we're designing for, right? So I think that an antidote to this would be humility and empathy, making an effort to delve deep into your roots, trying to understand who are the people you're designing for and how they look at the world. So it does take a little bit more time to do that kind of research, that very deep listening as well. But it really is, and it really does humble you down, you know. Uh, so let's look at the way like indigenous people of Sindh interact with the world around them, the care they put into playing their instruments like this, the love that goes into cooking a meal, or the respect they show to nature. So these, I think, are the very values that should guide our design practice as well, because we are very increasingly disconnected from our roots, and that this is due to displacement also, a legacy of colonialism that it's also a troubling reality. Because when you're forced from your home, you lose not just the physical space, but also the intangible threads that connect you to your heritage, the objects, traditions, stories that were once woven into the fabric of our daily lives. They just become scattered remnants, fading echo of our cultural identity, right? We'll look a little bit more into this later. So there's this sense of loss that comes with this. So an example of this that you guys can all understand and relate to on the way, right? I just think that looks hideous because not just that we also lose a lot of our history, a lot of our tradition. Maybe these patterns meant something, right? They meant something to the people who went there daily, and now we also have barbed wires there, and it's very, I don't know, it's much less accessible than it used to be. So these kind of, poorly executed restoration projects are an example of us not valuing our heritage and our tradition. Yeah. So it's not only about, erasing our visual charm. वो तो हो ही रहा है. We see Karachi has all of these stories through these temples, through these mazars, but वो तो lose हो ही रहा है. But उसके साथ साथ, we are also contributing to the erasure of the stories that are etched in their foundation, right? So when we neglect our history, the history that we weren't taught about in schools, when we neglect that, we also contribute to this kind of erasure. Our bhajans, rangolis, mandirs, gurdwaras all embed the wisdom of our earth-loving ancestors. And I think as artists and designers, we need introspection. We need to, ask ourselves who gets to define what is good design and timeless design, and whose stories are getting told. So it's time for us to own our heritage as well. Yeah. I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of my animation work as well. So we are going, side by side. This is something recent that I'm working on. It's for our artist residency at Lauti that we are building right now. And the aim is to document and digitize various forms of cultural expression found in the region. So it includes music, folklore, myths, and rituals. And uh, so, there's this designer, Tony Fry, who says that design either serves or subverts the status quo. So uh, it's just my way of exploring, like, how can we, move away from something that we have, something that has become very repetitive, doesn't really communicate so much. So uh, that's what I tried to do in this project as well. These are the mountains. These are granite mountains, and they are under threat because there's a lot of mining being done there. So just at the foothills of the mountain, we have this residency, and I had to create an identity that represents that and represents what we're trying to, protect. So I think I need to show you guys a little bit bigger. Yeah. Okay. So just a little bit glimpse into how I was thinking about this and where I drew my inspirations. So this is from the mountains. And when I was thinking about protections, I don't know, for some reason, all of my work uses hands a lot. So that's something that was there. And I saw this pattern over here in the mud art that Thari women do on their houses. This is how they represent themselves. I can't seem to find the, where I actually saw it, but I do remember drawing this symbol from there. Then this star I found from Ajrak, and others from the embroidery. So I had a few things in my mind that I wanted to create something that's fertile, balanced, and harmonious, something flowing, prosperous, and protected. So I created something that kind of captures all of that energy. So yeah. Let's see how this project goes. We managed to secure a funding from British Council for our first residency. So yeah, this is my identity for that. So yeah, moving on from my illustration work, I also give work where I teach the same thing. How to draw from your roots, how to draw from your traditions, and how not to let, the design world dictate how you should do your work. It's more of an explorative kind of workshop. Just understand what is something that you are drawn to. Like Isma was talking about before, how about her inspirations and about the feminist writers that helped her. So it's all about trying to find out what you are drawn to personally, and then visualizing that and translating that into art and into design as well. So that's what I do in my workshop, Find Your Flow. It's a way for me to give back to the communities that have inspired me to my core as well. Yeah, so this is about it. This, hello? Yeah. So this is an illustration that I feel like really, like if somebody had to really look into my eyes, this is, how I feel through my work, through my design and illustration work. This is how there's a little bit of whimsy in there, a little bit of spirituality, So I just wanted to give you guys a little glimpse into how I am as a person. And there's another thing. In Sindhi, when we greet each other, we say Haq Majood. It means may truth prevail. And I just hope that through design and illustration, we also find a way to tell our truth instead of letting other, forms of structure and other, people tell us how we should behave and how we should, do our practice. So yeah, Haq Majood. Lastly, when I was thinking about this talk, uh, I didn't really write anything at first. My response to this topic was this illustration. So this is what I wanted to communicate. I really hope I have been able to communicate it through my speech as well. So yeah, thank you, Areeb, for this opportunity. I was able to create some new work because of you. All right, thank you. If you guys want to follow me or look at my
Thank
work.
you so much.